Hello children. Today we are going to read and understand a short poem, Smells by Kathryn Worth. Children, what does the word smell mean to you? The smell of flowers? Or the smell of good food? The smell of your favorite perfume? Or the smell of a newborn baby? And not to miss the smell of earth when the first few raindrops fall over it. In this poem, the poet talks about the stark contrast between the snow-clad winters and the lovely, lively springtime, and how she misses the lovely fragrances that can be smelt only during the springtime. So here is a brief introduction of the poet. Kathryn Worth was a British academic, professor of drama at Royal Holloway University of London. Before beginning with the reading and explanation of the poem, let's get introduced to the theme or the central idea of the poem. This poem describes the speaker's longing for the joy and vibrance of springtime. The frozen and cold winter is in stark contrast against the lush greenery of temperate spring. The poet talks about the purple lilacs, the yellow forsythias, the green meadows, the pink peach blossoms, and the white clovers that clothe the earth in spring. The fragrance of these flowers and the fresh green grass fills the poet's heart with joy and contentment. As the earth is buried under the snow in winters, the poet's heart longs for these vibrant colors and fragrances. Let's read the poem. Through all the frozen winter, my nose has grown most lonely for lovely, lovely colored smells that come in springtime only. The purple smell of lilacs, the yellow smell that blows across the air of meadows where bright forsythia grows. The tall pink smell of peach trees, the low white smell of clover, and everywhere the great green smell of grass the whole world over. Let us begin with the explanation of the poem. In the first stanza, the poet says that the winter is freezing cold, and throughout winter, her nose has been very lonely. Now, how can the nose be lonely? The nose is lonely because it is missing the lovely colored smells that can be smelt only in the springtime. And how can the smells be colored? It is because the poet is associating the sense of sight with the sense of smell. Here, the poet has named the smells according to the colors of flowers and hence calls them colored smells. Coming to the second stanza, the poet talks about the lilacs and calls their fragrance as purple smell because the color of the lilacs is purple. She also remembers the yellow smell of the forsythias that blows across the meadows. Children, meadows are fields that have grass and flowers growing through it. In the last stanza, the poet mentions the tall peach trees, which bear fruits that are yellowish pink in color, and thus calls the smell of the peach trees as pink smell. The poet also misses the white smell of clover. That is not very intense. Children, clovers can have many colors, like crimson, red, or maybe more. But here the poet specifically mentions the white clovers that have a very low, that is not very intense smell. The poet also misses the smell of the green grass, and she calls it as great green smell. Green refers to the color of the grass, and she calls it great because grass has the same smell all over the world and also the same color. Children, Of all the senses, scent or smell is the one that is most closely linked to memory. The smells we experience play a crucial role in how we associate with memories and places. Whether it reminds you of your mother's cooking or the smell of your tiffin in school, a distinctive scent sinks into your brain and stays there. Have you ever come across a whiff of something that instantly takes you back to an old memory? Think about it. Let us now know and understand what poetic devices have been used in this poem. As you already know, poetic devices are tools that a poet uses to create rhythm, enhance a poem's meaning, and intensify a mood or feeling. The first poetic device that is used here is imagery. It draws on the five senses and helps the readers better imagine the world the poet is referring to. For example, the tall pink smell of peach trees, the low white smell of clover. In these lines, you can imagine the tall peach trees and the smell of clover, which is somewhat less intense, and the clovers are white in color. The other is rhyme. It is the occurrence of similar sounding words at the end of lines. For example, lonely, only, blows and grows. Repetition is the simple repeating of a word or phrase to give emphasis. For example, lovely, lovely in the first stanza. Next is contrast. Contrast is a type of opposition between two objects highlighted to show their difference. In this poem, the contrast between frozen winter and springtime is shown. I hope you've understood the poem well. In case you have any queries, please feel free to ask me. Thank you. Bye-bye.